All right, vibe of the day. Why won't this guy stop talking about reading code? I don't know. So, supervising LLMs, you have to kick ass at reading code. And lots of times it's your job to read code that you didn't write. That's kind of mostly what you do actually, is read code that other people wrote, or it's coming soon code that LLMs wrote. So how do you download a gigantic system quickly? Well, there's tricks to it, and I'm going to show you a real neat trick that uses ripgrep and FCF, and it kind of layers some domain-driven design on top of it. So the idea behind domain-driven design is if you understand the bounded contexts of a system, then you can compartmentalize. You can lower the cognitive load by essentially compartmentalizing different problem spaces. While you're focusing on one problem space, you can ignore all the rest of it. Everything that's happening within another bounded context, you can safely ignore. So that's very powerful, especially when you're trying to download a gigantic system. To be able to create mental compartments to store different categories of information is really powerful. And it's what the professionals do. What professional software engineers are excellent at is downloading gigantic systems into their working memory, their wetware, so to speak. So as I said, there are tricks to this, and if you're working with a system that uses domain-driven design or is designed around bounded context, it gives you a pretty neat shortcut. So this system that we're looking at here, I'll just actually go to the repo. I don't know anything about this system. I didn't write it. It's just code that I found on GitHub that is a sample project demonstrating a Java system designed with bounded contexts. So without really knowing anything about this system other than that it's Java, I'm going to start to do a little bit of downloading here. So understanding that it's a Java system, most Java systems are use Maven as the build system. And Maven has a construct called module. Most Java engineers, most Java architects try to design modules that will be sort of implemented as a Maven module. So knowing only that, I'm going to start to search for module, and I can see here that there are 3 modules defined in this project. There's the risk management module, the web app module, and the sales module. The web app module doesn't sound that interesting. It sounds like the goodies are in the risk management and sales modules, and those sound like bounded contexts. They sound like domains, problem domains, that they will be expressed in code within a domain construct. So based on that hunch, I'm going to start searching for sales. And there I see the sales, a bunch of listings under sales. I'm going to narrow again to domain. And now, lo and behold, I can see the primary entities within the sales domain of this app. And if I arrow up, I can start to read code. So here I can see this is basically a POJO. It's essentially a value object. Another value object, but this time this looks a little bit more interesting because it has operations as well as data. And just cruising up here, I can just take a look at and see, get a sense for what the sales context is about within this larger system. Now, most Java systems have the concept of a service, essentially an API implemented as a service. So knowing only that, I'm going to start to narrow on service. And look at that. Unterschreibvertrag Application Service mit Event. Huh, that's German. Okay. Oh, interesting. So here we have on line 11 the annotation application service. So this is the view contract service, and I'm inferring that it's a service because of the annotation and because of the operations and the logging. Here you can see on line 28 to 35 there's a little bit of German. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, so the convention in this system is a little bit different than I'm used to because they have annotations. I think that they're designating services with annotations rather than designating them by placing them in a folder called services, which is, I guess, kind of old school. So the other domain in this, well, actually I can't remember. So the other domain was risk management. So let's take a look at that. And because of the fuzziness of this reading experience, I can just type MGMT and it will fuzzily resolve to risk management. And then same thing, I'm going to look at the domain objects, the primary entities that compose the value objects of this domain. And I can see sign date, contract, credit rating. Now, I think that I saw a contract entity in the sales domain, so I'm just going to take a look at that. I'm going to say it was risk management. So there is a contract defined in the risk management domain. And there is also a contract defined in the sales domain. And that is precisely the power of bounded context, is that you can define the same construct in different domains without loss of nuance. The alternative to that would be to have one contract God object that has all of the attribution that you need for multiple domains, thus causing coupling. So that's why modern software systems are designed this way, and that's why many modern software systems rely on constructs like domain-driven design, bounded context. It's really to allow this type of nuance in your software. So that is the vibe of the day. Domain-driven design plus fuzzy inference allows you to download a huge amount of system information really quickly.